Okay. So, like I said, day 4 and 5 for week 2, to go through them. And if you have any question regarding the content, you can raise it during our next class. So, we are moving to week 3, um, month 1, week 3. Then we probably cover day 1 to 4. Then day, so you can read the rest of the content. So in the next class, we are going to talk about them. So for day 1, we have, for week 3, the topic is security concepts and access control. So the concepts that we are going to talk about here is
Eh,
authentication.
sorry, sorry,
Yes.
please. Day one, authentication method, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
authentication
yes, yes,
method.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay, so when we talk about authentication, what does it mean? So it means it's a way of verifying the identity of a user or a system that is about to access a particular resource, right? So when the simple example that we can use is when you want to when you visit a website, a website that usually require maybe you it requires you to log in before you're able to have access to certain information. So for example, let's say your Facebook. Excuse me. Excuse excuse me. Sorry. So sharing my screen. So can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see the screen.
All right. So like I was saying, for example, you visit a website that requires you to log in or to have access to certain resources. So for example, excuse me. So for example, your Facebook. Um, so
Yes.
yes. So if you want to log into if you want to have access to certain things on Facebook, to require you to log in, right? So
Yes.
that login is the authentication method, right?
Yes.
Uh, so a real life example that we can use is a bouncer at the club or a security guard at um, maybe a gym center. So before you enter the club, the bouncer will check maybe to a show. The bouncer will check your tickets. Maybe you have a ticket. If you have a ticket, you check the validity of that ticket and other things before they will allow you to enter into the show. So if it's maybe a gym area, I don't go to gym,
Mm.
but I know that there are some form of verification that they will do. You, you don't just go into a gym area and you start using that equipment. You have to be a registered member. Maybe you register daily or you are a monthly plan. So before you have access to their facility, their equipment. So basically that is authentication. So authentication means um, it's a process of verifying the identity of a user, a system, or process. So it is used to confirm who um, it is used to confirm that you are exactly who you are claiming that you are. So, for example, for a club, I think they usually have a VIP section. They usually have floor member and all that. Floor member. So the
For gym?
authentication. No, no, no. I mean, I said for a club.
Okay.
Yeah. So they usually have that kind of categorization depending on the level of that club. So the verification is to identify you that okay, um, Rose is here. Is Rose a member of this? A registered member, maybe by ticket or something. You check that, and then they will allow you in. So that is authentication. So factors that are used for authentication is something you are and something you are, something you have, or something you know. I'm going to the next section now. So authentication method are categorized based on what the user provides to prove their identity. So depending on the kind of implementation they've done, maybe it's a password or token. So factors of authentication, you have something you know, which is knowledge factor. Something you know is example is a password, and another one is something you have. So something you have is um, usually okay. That one is a possession factor, and it's usually something like token. So like when you log in into some website, they need to send you another excuse me, they need to send you another
A code.
form of verification, which is a code that you need to enter. So it can the token can be physical token, it can be digital token. So example of physical token is that token that people use to make payments from their for their bank.
Mm.
Yes, so example, so that's hardware token. It's also called token because it's used to generate OTP. And then we have software token like Authenticator app, Google Authenticator app, or the one that they will send to what you have,
Email.
phone number or email address. So, so that's authenticate. That's software, and it can be a smart card, right? So it can also be a smart card that you can use to verify that um, you are this person because it's only you that you have the person, it's your information that is configured on that smart card. So depending on the interface of or what they have implemented for that kind of security. So we also have a certificate, digital certificate. Let me go to okay. So for something for example, you said you have a password, right? So you can have it's either you set a strong password or you set a weak password. Strong password um, when you combine different when you combine
Symbols,
alphanumeric,
numbers,
yes, you
alphabets,
combine alphabets, numbers, and symbols, special
symbols.
characters together. So that will give you a strong password. So now, so it's not so to get a strong password, it's not just about combining um, symbols. So you have to mix them in a proper ratio. So for example, let me see if I can get yeah, I think this should so this one can calculate yes. Let's see. This is not what I want to. Okay, so here is one for bit wording. So it's not just about combining character and so let's say I just use rows one, two, three. You can see that I've combined capital letter with small letter, right? And I use one,
Yes.
two, three. So now if I use special character, what is it saying? It's saying what? It's still very weak. So you can see that it's not just about combining, so you have to combine them properly. So the reason why he's saying weak is that rules is an English word, right? So there is a form of attack that's called dictionary attack. So rules is an English word that can easily be get. But if I say, let's say I now use, instead of that letter O, I use zero. Huh? You can see that it has changed to from that red to weak. Yeah. So let's say this S. What other character can we use for S? Let's say five.
5.
Yeah. So let me change. Then you can see that estimated time to crack has increased to 17 minutes. Are we?
Mm.
We now increase the the length, because this is one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. It's just eight character. So if we increase the length and say F O U R, so the length has increased and it's showing strong. So this one, two, three as well. So okay, let me remove this F O U R and now use 29, 40. So the number one rule is that don't use consecutive number like one, two, three that I used, or one, two, three, four, five. So it will not make your password um strong. You can see that the level is good. It's not saying strong, and it will only take 3 hours to crack this kind of password. It's even having two zeros. So the trick is to now increase the number. So it will take 1 year to crack this kind of password. So it will take 1 year. So the trick is to increase the number, avoid using consecutive, uh, increase the length rather, avoid using consecutive numbers, and ensure that you mix with capital letter, small letter, and special character to get a very strong password. So security best practice, like I've said, complexity, mix of upper, lower case, number, special character, length. So needs recommend at least 8 character, but longer is much better. It's 12 to 16 character. 12 to 16 is for is what PCI recommend. Uniqueness, don't reuse password across different accounts. Aging and expiry, while historically recommended, frequent password changes for no reason can lead to weaker password or sticky notes. Focus now on the strong password and MFA. So you can use password manager to help you manage your password, to ensure that you are not repeating the same password for different platform. So another form of something is PIN, using PIN like your bank app, right? Person, excuse me,
Sorry.
personal identification number like your bank app. There are shorter numerical password that you can. use to access something, like you use on ATM, your bank app. Also, security question. Someone wants to join. Welcome, David.
Thank you.
Okay. Is this your first time joining?
Yeah, this is my first time joining.
All right. Okay. Um, and we'll stop. So security questions, they are usually used for um they're also used for as something you know, like security question to strengthen your account. You would have seen it um, maybe in your bank app or somewhere, just to ensure that you have something to recover your account or make it stronger, so that just any other person will not have access to it. So security questions are usually contain personal questions that they know that probably most people will not be able to guess, especially people that don't know you very well. Like they can say, what's the name of your first pet? Um, what's the name of the city that you grew up? So those kind of questions, people that did not know you from your childhood do not know answers to those kind of questions. So that's something you know. And then something you have, which is a possession factor, right? We've talked about physical token, which is the hardware token. We've talked about software token. So then smart card, um, USB security key. They are also a form of like a token, or is usually used like a key, actually, exactly like a key. So example of this is when you a close example of what I can use is when you there is a feature that you can use to recover your Windows operating system, so that when you forget your password, so you can use that key. You can store it in a USB, you can store it in a disk. So when you have that kind of USB key, or a USB a key, you store it in a disk. So when you forget your password, the password to your Windows operating system, so you can um, use that key. You can plug in that key, and then you follow the prompts to help you reset the password. So that's something you have. Also, certificates or digital certificates. They are usually electronic documents that you can use as your public key cryptography to bind an identity to a public key. When we get to cryptography parts, we will understand this better. Something you have, that's in inherent factor, majorly is biometric factor. Something you are, something that defines you. So the example of the biometric factor is your fingerprint, your um, facial look, your retina color, and your voice as well. So those are the things that someone can use to recognize you. When you speak, someone can easily say, "Oh, that's David talking." I think I heard David somewhere. So they'll be able to use that to recognize you. So all those kind of biometric factor can also be used um to be used as authentication method. So that's where you now see fingerprint scanner, facial recognition, device retina scanner, and voice recognition. Behavioral, like, excuse me. So now this behavioral is somehow tricky in such a way that it will only recognize your behavior. So the example here is typing, reading, the how fast you type. So when an authentication method requires you to type something, and then when you were registering for that thing, you it to register your typing speed, right? Or the number of words you can type per second, something like that. So when it's requiring you to verify to for authentication, and you type faster than you typed when you were actually being registered for that account, then it will recognize that, it will guess that it's probably not you, or it could be the maybe blinking, or the way you move your head, something like that. So this behavioral biometric is I've witnessed this in one app like that. I think maybe Kuda or something, or Opay. Have you witnessed any of this? That they will ask you to blink, or
Yes, most of these online banks use
yes,
it.
they will say you should wave your hand.
Wave your hand, turn your face to the right,
Uh,
the left, press
yes,
it up,
yes.
bring it down.
So that's a kind of an example of behavioral metric that we can see from our environment. So the strength is, it is convenient, and it's harder to lose or forget. It's harder to lose or forget. But which one have you encountered among all these form of authentication? Which one have you
All
encountered?
of them.
Oh, okay, okay.
All of them, yes. Passwords, mixing passwords like that, and then questions.
Okay, security question.
Like the one I always ask, what is your mother's maiden name?
Maiden name, okay. Okay.
Or they'll ask you, what is your husband's name? What's
Okay.
the name of your dog?
Yes,
What's the name
yes,
of your dog?
yes.
Uh, I use that one to always select dog.
You don't need to tell us details. You are a cyber security person now. You don't need to. That means you'll be using the name of your dog for password.
Yeah, it's when if I'm if I'm using one that has to do with name of your pet, it's name of your pet.
So, okay, no problem. Um, so there was one interview I watched like that, and someone just posed like an interviewer randomly on the street met with one person and put the mic up to the person and asked, um, people usually use their pet name for their password. Do you agree? The person said yes. So that means you use the name of your pet. She said yes, yes, yes. I said, what's the name of your pet? She mentioned it, and easily the person has revealed her password just like that, unknowingly.
But he will not log into anything now.
How?
Did he? There are many passwords a human being have for many applications.
That's what
He
I'm
might not know
saying.
the exact application it is for, so he can't hack
See,
anything.
see, most people that use their maybe pet name for password, they usually use one password for all their accounts.
So me, I don't use one though.
So most people usually use one password because that's what resonates to them. That's what they feel it's easy for them to remember. So
But that question doesn't is not like a password. In most apps, that's
it's not password. Yeah.
after you have entered your the main password,
Yes,
then
yes,
they
yes.
can't tell you they want to ask you a security question.
Yes, it's part of authentication now. It's like the example, what authentication does is to verify who you said you are. Okay, so you have entered your password. The password might have been gotten from the kind of scenario that I mentioned now, right? So to further verify and check that this person is actually the person they claim they are, then that's another second step of authentication for that app that they've implemented, which is very good. They usually use it also for when you want to reset your password. So they can ask that kind of question before they even send you the the reset link. So even if you have the person's email or phone number where they will send the reset link, you still need to know the security questions. You need to know the correct answer to the security question. So yeah, so that's that. Mm, So from here, we'll now come to multi-factor authentication, which is MFA or 2FA. Right. So, example of MFA or 2FA that I just mentioned it now, that when you enter a password and then the system requires you to for further verification and use another method of authentication. So you enter a password, then they will require you to give a correct answer to a security question that you have set. So that's 2FA. Um, so another one is you entering your password and then they require you to enter an OTP that's been sent to your email address or phone number. So that's 2FA, right? So that's two-factor authentication. So the first factor is your password, the second factor is the OTP sent to your phone or email address. So when you now have multiple steps like that, that's multi-factor authentication. So when you have combination of maybe password, OTP, and then maybe retina scan, or you still need to do biometric, that's um that's multi-factor. Excuse me. So that's multi-factor, which is multi-factor. But the most common is usually two-factor. It's usually two-factor. So the type of MFA that we have here is the most common one is SMS OTP or email address. And then we have Authenticator app. Who uses Authenticator app here? Have you used it before?
Ye- yes, I have. I have it
You
for
don't
my
need to
crypto wallet.
tell us. Don't tell us. Just tell us you have. So
I have.
yeah, you have to be careful of the level of information that you reveal now. Hmm?
You cannot access it.
Okay, okay. I've heard you.
Even if you access it, you will need wallet phrase. You cannot access it.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
I've heard you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. David, have you used any kind of David is off the call.
He's not here. Oh.
Wow. I thought he's still here. Okay. I don't know why people will join us to and leave within short period.
Maybe it's network now.
Our network is not.
Or the gist you are gisting is not sweeting them, so they will enter and go.
No, if they join from the beginning, they will understand. So that's Authenticator app. Then we have hardware token. We've mentioned this before. Biometric plus password, common on smartphone. So continuous authentication, the beyond initial login continuously verifies identity during a session using behavioral biometric device, posture, location, monitoring typing pattern, and mouse movement. Continuous authentication. You this one. Okay, what app can you relate to this continuous authentication?
That one you're talking about, the thing with monitoring how you type. I've not experienced this before.
Well, I've not experienced it too actually, but it's part of. So it's something that's possible to use, but it's just that probably it is not being implemented in this part of the world.
So if the person happens to be tired and is not typing as fast as before, what now happens?
But at least it will. That means it will lock out now, and then require you to identify yourself. Example of this continuous authentication that I can relate with is this. What do they call it? There is a pin you set on WhatsApp.
Mm,
Yeah, so you know that one will just pop up anytime. It will not ask you to, well, maybe when you enter WhatsApp, it can
yes.
pop up anytime and ask you to enter that pin. So if you don't know that pin, that's the end. You will not be able to continue with the app, using the app until you enter the pin. So I think that's a form of continuous authentication that I can relate with. Security implication, compromised credentials. This leading, so we are talking about security implication of this authentication method. So if your credentials is compromised, the leading cause of data breach, strong authentication directly combats this. So when you have like multiple steps of authentication that is required for you to log in or have access to whatever you are protecting. Then, excuse me, then you will not be bothered with compromised credential, because you know that there are still other factors that will be required for you to, or for that person to have access, full access to what you're protecting, like this crypto that you were talking about. So even if I know the password to your wallet, so I need to know the key phrase, like 12-word key phrase that they usually give.
Okay. Import.
Ehen. So I need to have access to those to you to have access to you. And then the way they create all these crypto app now, you can have multiple wallets inside one app, right?
Yes.
Ehen.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then you need to have the phrases of all the wallets before you be able to have access to all the wallets. Okay, so account takeover. MFA makes account takeover attack much more difficult and phishing resistant. MFA, especially hardware security key, is highly resistant to phishing attack because the token verifies the legitimate website. Uh, so day two, which is authorization and access control. So, excuse me. Now, um, authorization and access control. So, what do you mean by authorization? So, authorization is the process of determining what an authenticated user whose system is permitted to do or have access to. So, it answers the question: are you allowed to access these resources, this resource, or perform this action? So, example of the gym center that we, or the club that we cited the first time. So now let's example of club. So when after the bouncer from the entrance, the first entrance, after they granted you access in, that's you are, maybe you've bought a ticket to enter, right? Now at the VIP section, there will be another set of bouncer that will be there. So you have access to the club, but do you have access to the VIP lounge? So that's what the bouncers there will now check. Another set of bouncer. So if your ticket does not carry VIP tag, then it means that you are not allowed to enter that VIP lounge. You're only allowed to access within the club, but not that VIP section. That's authorization, right? Excuse me. So you are not authorized to go into VIP section. but you are authorized to use other part of the club, right? The example of gym, I'm not sure if this is applicable, right? But example of gym that we can let me see. So if you enter a gym and you are not a member, so usually is the reception section, which is outside the gym area itself, right? So before you get into the gym area, you get to the reception section where the receptionist will attend to you. So if you are not a member, right, they will probably not allow you to enter the. Or probably you want to maybe you want to just check the equipment they have and all that. They might allow you to enter and check. But since you are not registered, they will not allow you to use their equipment, right? So you have access to enter, but you can't use the equipment. So that's authorization. You are not authorized to use their equipment, but you are allowed to enter and just walk around, check their equipment. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right. You are far from your device, so you are doing
I am
something else.
standing up. No, I'm standing. That's why.
Okay, okay.
I don't want to feel sleepy. I'm already feeling sleepy.
Really?
I want to stand up so that I will not feel sleepy.
Yeah, jump up 5 times. Okay, so maybe we'll just take authorization and leave it that way. So so which one comes first from my explanation? Which one do you think comes first? Authorization or authentication?
Authentication first, then before authorization.
It's not authentication, it's authentication.
Sorry, authentication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, authentication before authorization. Yes, that's it. Okay. So now authorization. I've explained authorization. Abi. So now access control. So this is under authorization, right? So when someone has entered into the club, what are the controls that is implemented so that the person will not go beyond what they're supposed to have access to? The person will not go into the VIP lounge, right? And then the person that have access to the VIP lounge will not have access to the VVIP lounge. So what are the controls that are put in place? That's access control. So for the club, they put bouncers at the entrance of the VIP lounge and bouncers at the entrance of the VVIP lounge. So that someone that paid for VIP will not enjoy the privileges of VVIP section. So that's access control. Now, to what we are talking about. So definition is defined as the mechanisms and method that determine and manage who or what is allowed to access specific resources like files, systems, applications, data, and what action they can perform. Are they allowed to read, write, delete, or execute? It is the implementation of authorization um, policy, that's access control. So the key principle of access control, you have a principle of least privilege. So the principle of least privilege is, so the example of this that I can cite is when you go into some facilities and then you see some doors, they will say um, staffs only,
But
right?
staff only.
Yes, yes. So privilege, that's um, an example of this privilege, right? So truly, you have access to enter into the building, but there are some sections that you are not allowed to enter into. And there are some organizations that even if you are a staff, there are some sections that you are still not allowed to enter. Probably maybe because of your level in the organization and all that. So for example, in a big organization now, everybody will not be allowed to enter into the MD's or CEO's office, right? Yeah, so a low level staff will not just be allowed to, except he or she is summoned to come. And before he or she is summoned to come, it has to be a very big issue or something very big that is happening that will warrant that kind of summon. So that's why you have levels of staff, like the manager and then head of department. So head of department will now be reporting to the MD or CEO. So even the manager will not directly have access to MD except something warranted. So that's example of this privilege, right? So okay. So and another principle is need to know. Access to information should be granted only when the user has a legitimate requirement to access that information to perform their duty. Right. So this goes beyond just the the least privilege, the least privilege policy. So it's also concentrate on specific information that the person needs to know. So now when you implement a need to know, a principle of least privilege, right? So you can still further limit the person to what they need to know. And then so separation of duty is ensuring that duties are separated and acknowledged. So for example, someone is not only one person is not doing the role of customer service and also doing the role of HR and also doing the role of another role. So that is separation of duty. So different people will have different roles so that this need to know and this privilege will be effective, right? Are you still with me?
Okay. No. No.
All right. So yes. So we now have types of access control. So this type of access control, we have dark, we have RBAC, we have time-based access control, we have mandatory access control, and um, role-based, we have attributes and all that. So I don't know if you can go through this, or we are supposed to end by 10:30, abi?
Yes.
So that means we still have like 1 hour to go. Okay. All right. So access control, the forms or models of access control that we have. So discretionary access control, from the word discretion, right? So the access is
Mm.
granted the owner of a resource, or the owner of a resource determine who has access to it and what permissions they have. So let me explain this one. Now, you said discretionary access control. Now, so let's say your organization, you have HR, you have customer service, you have, let's say, systems and network. Abi?
Financial.
And someone joined us.
Financial and management.
Oh, okay. All right. So you have finance.
It's David now.
All right. So okay. So let's use finance department for example. So inside that finance department, you still have you can still have some units inside the whole finance department. So for example, inventory can be part of finance department, so that they're able to um, do account of what they have in stock and what they buy and what they sales might not be part of finance, but they work very closely with finance. You can have treasury, right? What other? So now, so within that finance,
Logistics.
yeah. So within that finance department, you can agree with me that not everybody will have access to the financial account. I mean, what do they call it? The account statement, right? I'm talking about big big organization that they have
Yes, yes, yes.
they have different units in that same department. They have different units. They can have like two, three units. So which means that not everybody will have access to the same thing. So that's
Yes.
number one, segregation of duty, right? And
Yes.
number two, the need to know concept is coming in. Since you are not working with this thing, you don't need to know it, right? So that's discretion.
Yeah.
So that's where discretionary access control now comes in. Now, the system and network will now give maybe the CFO or the head of department the right to grant access to certain resources.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the head of
Yes.
department will now say, okay, Toby, you are with treasury, you can have access to this, but you are not with inventory, you can't have access to this. So the person will now grant access to different folders, different files that they are supposed to have access to. Do you understand? So that's discretion. So the person is using his or her own discretion to grant access to what everyone is supposed to have access to. because he is in charge of that thing. So he knows what one person is supposed to have access to and what one person is not supposed to have access to. So that's discretionary access control. So that's what this is talking about. That the owner of the resources, that's the head of the department, determines who has access to it and what permission do they have. Yeah. So I did explain that permission part is that okay, you can edit, you cannot edit, you can only read what is there. You can read, edit, and delete. Right? So the person will also grant access to that kind of to the person. The characteristic is highly flexible, easy to implement in small environments. In management, access control lists are often used to implement stack, like file permission, Windows, read, write, execute for owner, group, and others. The weakness, discretionary nature can lead to lax security if owners are not careful. So if the head of the department is not security conscious, right? So it can lead to him granting access to who is not supposed to have access to something, maybe by mistake. And then when you grant access to someone and then that person is not security conscious, so through that person, the the person can um, be attacked or yeah, be attacked by maybe a Trojan horse or a worm or a ransomware that will attack that will affect the whole network or resource. So you have mandatory access control. Now, so this one is that it says access decisions are based on security levels. So that is sensitivity level assigned to the subject, that is the user or process, and object, which is the files or resource. The operating system is the operating system or security kernel enforces access.
Sorry, we can't see the screen again.
Oh, that should be a network. Rose, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see. You are yes, I can see your screen.
Yeah, that should be a network.
No, it's off now. I can't see it now. Okay, I can see it now.
Okay.
I'm seeing your picture in that place of this,
Are you using your phone?
yeah, I'm using my phone.
Okay. But can you see the letterings here? I've increased the
No, like in place of that slide, I'm seeing your picture.
in place of
Okay,
slide.
let me log out and log in again.
Okay.
Yes, it's your picture that I'm seeing now.
Okay. Or maybe you have swiped
Authorization.
from you can maybe you have swiped away from what I'm presenting.
Okay, let me just log out and log in.
All right, all right. Okay, so this Mac, So the mark is comes from a central place of order, right? So it's not like discrimination where the the permission is granted to the head of department or head of unit, and then the head of unit will now determine who has access to what and what they're allowed to do with it. So the majority access control is is very rigid and highly secure because it comes from the central or the top part of the organization, right? So the management it is used in high security environments such as military, government, intelligence, where information classification is very critical, like top secret, secret, confidential. So, so it's only people that can have access to this to have access to this. Excuse me. So it's only people that can have access to this who have access to it. So it's not only in military, you can have it in government settings too, right? So there are some things in the state house of assembly or national assembly that we cannot, we that we are floor member citizens will not have access to. There's some information we don't have access to, but the those members of the house will have access to it. And then the presidency, there's some information that they will have access to that members of house national assembly will not have access to that kind of information. So those are top secret and confidential information. Okay. So then we have a role-based access control. So this one also comes from the this one also comes from central place, but what is there is that you have access to what you are supposed to have access to based on your role. So, for example, the systems and network uh, department will. Okay, so for example, the systems and network department. Someone can have. Um, okay, let's continue with our finance department. So you have different units in that finance department. So let's say you have treasury and you have inventory, right? So treasury and inventory, if you are in trade, so there is a certain um, document or files that someone in inventory will have access to. Yeah. And there is a certain file or document that someone in treasury will have access to. Now, in between inventory and treasury, or let's say, I don't know what other unit can we create there. people that do all this balance sheet and all that
Audit.
audits.
Mm. They
Okay,
also have audit inside.
okay, audits can also be
Auditors. Yeah.
okay, okay. Alright. So yeah, audit can also be there. There are some organizations that they have auditors separate. Okay, so now, so okay, let's say you now have. I'm even looking at. So what I'm trying to explain here is that people that will do account of inventory assets will also be in that finance team, but they are not in the same unit with inventory, but they will have access to inventory data. Do you understand? Based on their role,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's what I'm saying. And also, let's say we now have department. Department will have access to almost everything there, right? Because they need to check and balance what all the activities going on in the finance department, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's role-based access control. So do you understand role-based?
Yes, I get. You have access according to the role or
Yes.
the office you occupy.
Yes. Yes. Now, um, it's okay. Attributes. So let's talk about what's the advantage of role-based. David has joined back. Okay. So we have
Yeah.
Ah, it's still the same. Oh.
it's still the same. You're supposed to see my screen.
Ah,
Yeah, I'm sharing the document. Did you just join the class, the group rather, the WhatsApp group?
I don't think he knows you're talking to him.
David,
yeah,
I said, did you just join the WhatsApp group?
yeah. I joined via WhatsApp link.
No, did that WhatsApp group? When did you join? When did you join that group?
No, like this link was sent to me directly
When?
from
When?
one of you.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yesterday today.
Webex link, the Google link was
okay,
sent to me.
this class link was sent to you directly.
Yeah,
Okay, so that means you are not.
That
by
means it's
the
not in the
yeah, I
WhatsApp.
think the reception.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Maybe later they will add me.
All right, yeah, they will definitely add you up. So there is a note that I dropped in the WhatsApp group. So when they eventually add you, you get access to the notes, and that's what we are using currently. But you should be able to still display. Probably is your network. So you are still seeing my picture.
Yeah, I'm seeing your picture.
Only
Maybe are you using laptop?
they said he's using the phone.
No, I'm using my smart.
That's why now.
Yeah, you should be able to see
But
my
before what
screen now.
team, but let me not start now. Maybe when I join, I will. Sure, this clip will be there, like the slides will be there and the presentation.
Yes, it's a document. It's not.
Sure, the slides and the presentation will be there. I can listen to it again.
Yes, 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 yes. We are
Okay, no
recording it.
problem. Let me not distract you now. No,
All
no.
right.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, thank you. No
So
problem. Thank you. Good night.
the advantage is that it is scalable, easy to manage for large number of users, and consistency. It ensures all users in a role have consistent access, and it is also compliance. It is compliant. It's easier to audit and demonstrate compliance with security policies. Efficiency reduces administrative overhead. Disadvantage is that poorly defined role can lead to over privilege. So this the RBAC is the most widely used access control. So due to all these advantage, especially for compliance reasons, so it is the most widely used. And then we have attribute-based access control. Um, access decisions are made dynamically at the time of access request based on a set of attributes associated with subjects, object, action, and environment. So characteristics extremely granular and flexible. If X is true and Y is true and Z is true, then allow. So these this access control is based on attributes of user and object or environment. So we can so this attribute base is usually combination of different attributes. Let's say you can combine row, then resource. You can combine time as well to grant someone access to a particular resource. So, for example, um, if this user, if this user has authenticated and is authorized to access this, so if authentication passed through, that's one. Then, if this user is authorized to have access to this, that's two, abi. And then this user is trying to access this resource within 9 to 5, that's three. Then grant access to this person. How's
Hello?
hello? Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I stopped before. I can hear you now.
Okay. So I was trying to explain the combinations that we can have with attribute-based access control. So I said we can combine attributes with different attributes like user, object, action, and environment. Now, so I explained that okay, so if authorization is confirmed for this user has entered email and password and maybe the second factor, and that is true, that is valid. The person has been able to log in. So that means what is next is to check the authorization. Is this person allowed to view this resource? Now, so if this person allowed to view this resource, now is this person trying to access this resource between 9 to 5? 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if this person is allowed to, if this person is trying to access between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., then grant access. So if not, the access will be denied. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this attribute base, combine different factors together for the person to be able to have access. So um, environments can, okay, so user attributes can be department, job role, security, clearance, or location. I think okay, that's ended. Okay. All right. So I said user attributes can be department, job role, security clearance, location. Object attributes can be sensitivity, file type, and creation date. And action attributes can be read, write, delete, and approve. And environmental attributes can be time of day, like I said, IP address, device type, and network location. So all these attributes can be combined to grant to set attribute access control. So advantage is that it's fine grained um, control. That is, it's very granular. So the real life example, allow HR managers from the London office to view sensitive employee data between 9 to 5 on weekdays if they are using a corporate device and their login is from an approved IP range. So you can see different combinations like
Hello.
hello, oh, I've been explaining. I didn't know that. So these are the attributes that can be used for attribute access control. Like I said, combination of all these attributes, or one or two or three of these attributes will ensure attribute based access control. So user attributes can be department, job role, security clearance, and location. The object attribute, that is what you want to access, maybe file or folder. How is it sensitive by file type? Is it documents, Word document? Is it MP3 or MP4? Owner, who owns it? Creation date. When was the object created? Then action attributes is the person allowed to read, write, delete, or just approve. Then we have environmental attributes. Time of day, IP address, device type, network location. So this real life example explain everything. So it says allow HR managers from the London office to view sensitive employee data between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. on weekdays. Weekdays only, since they only work on weekdays. So if they are using a corporate device and their login is from an approved IP range, so which means that they must be using maybe a VPN to ensure that they are connecting through a secure location, a secure means, and then they cannot connect.
Hello.
Hello, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, it was breaking. It stopped at VPN.
Okay, so I said that means they must be using VPN, and then their their corporate VPN, the VPN from approved from the office, and then they are not logging in during the weekend. They will, the access will not be granted, and it must be between this time frame, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So the advantage is adaptable to new access requirements, and it's very granular. Also, high flexibility. The advantage is complex to design and implement. Require robust attribute management. Like all these attributes now, it requires a lot of management, and then putting them together to make it a rule is very tedious. So and centralized or decentralized access control. So this one is like form of all these asset control that we are talking about. Mm, let me see. Okay, yeah, we're almost done. So centralized access control. Access decisions are made by a single central authority. So e.g. Active Directory, LTAP, Cloud, IAM service. So what this one is saying is that the access control is from a central location, or from a central device, maybe from the cloud, or the Active Directory, uh, through which a domain is created and all devices are connected to that domain. So whatever rule is applied to that domain will apply to all devices on that domain. And decentralized access control. So like that discretionary access control that we talked about. So it's decentralized. Each head of department have um, control over has control, and they have authority to they're authorized to grant access to whoever they want to grant access to. So this can lead to inconsistency and security gap. Yeah, just like we have mentioned during the explanation of discretionary access control. So you have security implication of access control, unauthorized access. So these are the um, security things that can come up when implementing access control, or when access control has been implemented, things that can still come up. So like unauthorized access, the primary risk mitigated by strong access control. We have insider threats. That's when someone from the inside, from the organization, is trying to gain access to what they are not supposed to have access to. That's so that's where the principle of this privilege and separation of duty limits the damage of an insider threat. And then we have compliance. Many regulations, GDPR, HIPAA, PCI mandate specific access control requirements. So, like I said, RBAC is the most widely used access control. That's role-based access control. And then we have auditability. Well implemented access control make it easier to audit. To audit who access what and when. Then we have lateral movements. That's restriction of permission from principle of uh, least privilege, which limits an attacker ability to move laterally across network after initial compromise. So what this is talking about is, so when an attacker is able to access an account that is bind with least privilege, that's the person have the lowest privilege, right? So when a proper access control is configured on that account, it will be very difficult um, to escalate. That's not the word. To elevate that account into a privileged account, like maybe an administrator account that will have access to everything. So that's what this is talking about. And that will be the end of authorization. So we're able to talk about authentication and authorization. So the next is identity and access management basics. That's IAM. Yeah. This is mostly relating to cloud infrastructure. So it's also a form of access management, but majorly for cloud infrastructure. Yeah. So any questions so far? Mm,
You see all these things you're saying, they're all related to each other.
yes.
They're all the same thing you're mentioning since from the beginning of the class. It's still what you're mentioning towards the end of it. So they relate.
Really?
Yes.
Yes, they are just related, but they are not the same. So one can lead to another, but they are not exactly the same thing. The way you have put it, as if I've been saying the same thing since the beginning of the class. So they are not the same, they are just related. One leads to another. One leads to another. So so
Okay.
what's your comment? That's your comment. Do you have any question?
No, I don't have any question. Although I didn't read this before we started. But I think it's not hard.
Yeah, it's not hard. So
And this one is not hard. All the whole password, access control, and all that. I understand them because
so you've not
it's the
read.
same example that happened in the office.
Okay, yes, yes. So it's things you can relate with. All these protocol and network diagram, you've not read that one.
I I opened it and glanced through it. That's why I told you it has so many abbreviations. The thing just tire me. It has lots of abbreviations.
But some of
Please,
it,
are we meant to write an exam after this class?
yes, you write test, you write exam.
Only test?
You say exam test, the same thing. It's just you write assessment. That's, you write an assessment. Is it clear?
Yeah.
All right. So if there's no question, I think
Mm,
we need to end the class now.